All right, folks, you've been listening to the sounds of Slam House. Albums, definitely recommend for the jams. How you doing, folks? I need to refresh this. Just gonna refresh chat so that it automatically keeps up, and so I don't have to keep scrolling down. For some reason, that happens. So today we might need to turn down the sensitivity on this mic. So I just don't want to be upfront. This is going to be scuffed as hell. We are traveling. I'm in my hotel room right now, and it's a bug I get to. Okay, good to know it's not just me. Howdy, folks. How you doing? Hello, VCC TV. I'm gonna be trying to keep up with all the chats, but I literally just have my laptop, so it's gonna be hard to kind of keep track of all of you. But hello, DB Wolf. Hello, Erica. Hello. It would be very helpful if someone went over to YouTube chat and just posted in that to make sure that I'm like that's working all right. Yep, we're on the hotel internet, baby. Is it looking all right on your ends? Are there any like big hiccups that make this like unwatchable? Hey, Ms. Drizzlin and VCC TV, thank you for posting over on YouTube. I appreciate it. Let's see. Also, my laptop doesn't really have good capabilities for streaming, so this is going to be interesting to say the least. I'm in bed, haven't slept a wink. Oof. I didn't get much sleep last night either, but for very pleasant reasons. Pazdu, hello. You look and sound lovely. Well, I know that I don't look super lovely yet. I rolled out of bed and prepped a little stream because I figured we needed to talk a little bit about Ron DeSantis dropping out of the race, and I figured might as well prep a little bit of a show for you guys as well. Some things I saw that I wanted to talk about. SoundCloud is a little scuffed. I mean, I don't use SoundCloud, so I'm not sure exactly what that means. But yeah, we gotta talk about Meatball Ron, baby. Old pudding fingers over there. Also, folks, there are a number of white names in chat. If you would like to support stream, consider subscribing or gifting subs. I know that I certainly would appreciate them, especially traveling and missing out on 2 weeks of work. But let's see what we can do. Close that. Gotta make sure I actually manage my tabs this stream so that I don't have too many open. To close out of that one as well. He tapped out real quick after Iowa. Yeah. I mean, the writing's on the wall for all of them, but I think Nikki Haley has kind of boned herself into having to continue running. Hey, bread into toast. How's New York City? I guess I'll give you guys an update on that first before we get into the politics. So I am terrified of flying, so I didn't sleep the night before my flight. But we left at like 5 o'clock in the morning for a 7 a.m. flight. We got to the airport, and we're like, hey, we got 2 hours until our flight. It should be fine. And for whatever reason, the airline that we were flying had a line to drop off your bag that went out into the parking garage. So we were standing in line for a long time, but we basically made like a survivor alliance with 2 other people standing in line, and we promised to like watch their spot in line, and they both went out and like scouted for us, to see like, what one guy went to go see if he even needed to be dropping off a bag and standing in this line in the first place. Turned out he didn't need to be, so he was able to just walk off. And then this other lady like walked off and then came back, was like, "Hey, you guys are going to New York, right? Well, they have an expedited line. Come on, come on!" And like, so we all went and stood in the expedite line, and we got to skip like at least 40 minutes or an hour of waiting. Then we flew into New York and went to our hotel, and I was immediately validated in my decision to come with, just because of how happy Clarice was. And like I took a picture of her face the second she set foot in like her old neighborhood, and it was really, really pretty. It's like one of my favorite pictures of her ever. Um, but we went to a hotel, and like it's a fairly small room, but like it's like $100 a night, which is like crazy cheap, considering. I don't have notification sounds on, by the way, so if you guys make donos or anything, I'm not going to be able to see them. They're just going to pop up on screen, um, in the chat. Gamer G, thank you for getting a tier 1 sub. Flying Jack, how dare you betray the Midwestern urge to drive everywhere? Kidding. I hope you're enjoying the trip as much as I am. Ron DeSantis taking a fat L. That's true, Gamer G. Yeah, for New York, that's crazy, right? It's a really nice hotel too, like in terms of like cleanliness and stuff. Like it's very snug, but very. I would stay here again in a heartbeat. We wound up going to a restaurant called Cobra, which is like a Mexicali fusion restaurant. Very, very good. Would recommend you all going to Cobra if you ever go to New York. We got like their brunch menu, which apparently is only on weekends, so it was so good. I had like this carnitas hash with like eggs over easy on top, and got a couple chicken empanadas, and it was incredible. They also have like their own house-made like hot sauces, which are very, very good. I would amazing. Fight Mage, hello over on Twitch. How you doing? I saw you followed about 5 hours ago. Howdy. Hey, Polly has his cracker. How's New York? We're just talking about it now. Hello, Ukrainian. And so, would recommend Hobra. And then we also went to, I don't remember the name of it, but we went to like this Italian restaurant last night that like, how in like movies you'll sometimes see like a mafia family like getting like getting spaghetti or something. It was kind of like that, but like if it wasn't just a front for illegal activity, and it was incredible. Like I had this chicken parm hero with truffle fries, and it was incredible. I ate the rest of it this morning for breakfast, and it was even good cold. So excellent stuff. Their tiramisu is top notch too. Hey, Ukrainian. So yeah, that very, very good stuff. And then like one of the nice things, and from being from the Midwest, I'm not really used to this, but it's really nice that you can basically walk everywhere you need to go in New York City. I know like the current meme is like, oh, 5-minute walkable city, but like holy shit, guys, it's actually super nice. You know, like you can just like walk out your building and like, you know, 10, 15 minutes of walking later be at where you want to be, or like catch a bus to get to where you want to be, you know? Um, Happy to have just discovered you and at work. So, well, I hope watching or listening to stream makes work a little bit easier today. Shai Halud! New York has access to some of the best food on the planet, right? It's honestly just incredible. Jack's walking in. True, true. Yes, my time in Montreal was similar, and if not you hopped the metro, I loved getting around the city. Yeah, the only thing about it is that it's way colder than I was expecting because of like the ocean winds. You know, the winds coming in off the ocean. Um, colder than make you think. And now having been at least in one part of New York, it doesn't smell like piss. So I'm super happy to report it doesn't smell like piss. Um, I believe the exact phrasing was that Manhattan smells like piss, but I haven't been there yet. We're probably going to go there tomorrow. Because I'm one of the reasons I'm here is to do like bra and panty fittings, so that my partner can like have good fits for the launch of her gender euphoria lingerie. Um, which I'm really looking forward to. It's really cool that we're here and like making it happen. Like we're here to go to like a trade show for textiles, and like it's just really cool. You know, we're doing the thing. I will forever defend 15-minute cities. I lived in a mini one. There was a bodega and a hair cutter and a doctor and a dentist and restaurants, but it didn't have everything. But it was super convenient, and since they were all small businesses, well, that's the thing, right? Like the weird part about New York is that all of these buildings are like, oh, you want like a small like house or condo, get ready to fork over $5 million, you know. Um, but also in that environment, because of the way that the city funds businesses, even though all the property values are insane, small businesses can still start up because of funding from the city. So it's really cool to like see, like you walk down like a street where like things are millions of dollars if you wanted to buy them, and you can like there's like a psychic palm reader and like you know a Chipotle, but then right next to it is like a family dentistry outfit that's been in operation for like 75 years, and then there's a small like a small boutique clothing store, or like a like a little chair shop, like a woodworking shop, or like a furniture place that only sells like really really like ostentatiously wealthy looking furniture. Um, it's fun. I like it. You know, trans women. I actually kind of need that. Yeah, no, like my partner was inspired to create this line after like I bought some like mid-range moderately expensive lingerie and was extraordinarily disappointed by the fit. And she saw that and was like, well, I have a background in designing lingerie. She went to one of the best schools in the world for it, actually. And so she's made it a project to launch this little startup to make lingerie that is gender affirming for trans people that doesn't require tucking, you know? Because also, like, if you want to be like super affirmed in your gender as like a trans woman, tucking is like super uncomfortable and like a constant reminder that like you know um, you aren't welcome in like traditionally designed underwear. You know, um, So that along with like wider rib cages, and like expanded sizing, I think is really needed. Like that's a niche that isn't really catered to. Like when we were doing some background research into it, she found like this trans lingerie line that launched several years ago, but it was still designed for like trans women who fit like the conventional cis heteronormative body type, you know. So this is aiming to fill a different niche, you know. The market provides. um, Skid marks ratings after Chipotle. No. Going to dismiss alerts so they're not on screen. Yeah, tucking is an experience. Took me forever to find the type and size of underwear that let me exist comfortably. Well, yeah, like a lot of trans women I know, like wind up wearing like boy shorts or like biker shorts. Like it's not fun. Let's see. Have you egged Trump Tower yet? Nah. Yeah, we did hit 3.7K subs on YouTube, which is a pretty big deal. We finally broke 3,800 or 9,800 follows on Twitch. We're making it happen, folks. So that's very exciting and fun. 1 second, I'm gonna check the temperature in here. It's hot. So tomorrow we're gonna be doing fittings and like going to a little date location. It's fun. I think the ultimate play is just going girl bulge. Same. And so like a lingerie line that like facilitates that, like I think girl bulge is hot. Okay, girl bulge is hot, and a lingerie line that emphasizes that or like coexists with that is I think a good idea. All right, let's see if we can do um some content, huh? Also, folks, remember to hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, like the YouTube stream. Very important. Um, Also, remember to comment on the videos or hit the like button on the videos. When you do that, it really does help them reach a larger audience, whether angry conservative or happy left-leaning type. It's good stuff. The Steven Crowder nuking his social media video went pretty big, so I'm happy about that. But we gotta keep on with the momentum, you know. Why did Stream Elements just go live with that again? Did we like drop so many frames? Did we drop so many frames that it just like stopped and like restarted stream? That's weird. Gayfesh, hello. Howdy, howdy. Hey, Dragon Slayer. Finally worthy entertainment for my FedEx route. Hell yeah. I'm glad to hear that you think that, Dragon Slayer. Glad the trip is going well. It is going super well. I was gonna do a stream last night, but I figured I've given you guys like content every single day for the last couple weeks, so I took the night off. Probably not going to be streaming every day while I'm in New York, but this was big enough news that I figured I it's worth setting up a stream. Are you streaming from a potato? Yes, I'm streaming from a laptop on hotel Wi-Fi. So, um, also, folks, if you do enjoy my content, please consider dropping the subs and donos. They genuinely are the only reason I'm able to make this content and do what I do. So please continue to support. It means the world to me that you guys, that this content is brought to you by viewers like you. You know, yeah, we're basically like I'm using a ThinkPad laptop from like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. So it's not the best. Hey, Alex Asparas. And honestly, the fact that I'm able to look at all three chats at once is kind of boggling my mind. Yeah, no, for sure, VCCTV. I didn't think I'd be able to get it working, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Oh, bread into toast. ThinkPads are like the most popular like business laptop, and I was able to get one that had like decent processing capability, which is probably the only reason it works right now. Penny, thank you for gifting Punky Gal a tier 1 sub. Thank you for continuing. Yo, Penny, thank you for gifting another tier 1 sub to Mistress Lynn. And if you guys are noticing here, that there are no alerts. So if you guys subscribe or are push anything for memberships, I'm going to have to just see that naturally. I can't hear it go off or anything like usual. Honey, thank you for gifting Gayfesh a sub. So many buttons. Thank you for taking advantage of all of them. My goodness, Penny. Let's go. I always get confused. Does watching streams with YouTube Premium help with revenue or not? I know it's better for watching videos. So YouTube Premium would help with videos, except that I don't monetize the live streams on YouTube. Because I don't generally want to run ads on my content when it's live, because then you guys miss out on live content. And that's not fun. That's not cool. So I don't usually monetize the live streams. So it generally helps with the YouTube videos for sure. Especially because a lot of the YouTube videos wind up getting ad limited and like reach limited on YouTube. Because, that's just kind of the nature of covering politics. Also, I encourage all of you to check out the latest video on the YouTube channel where we talk about Aaron Prager, Dennis Prager's son, who also makes conservative propaganda. Would highly recommend you all check that out. Yo, Mistress Lynn, thank you for the 2 tier 1 gifted subs. You got very knifey duck in there. Hell yeah. Paying it forward, plus an extra Pippo hug. Appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support. Huzzah! Oh yeah, that guy, right? I don't know. I'm personally fascinated by the fact that making conservative propaganda is now a family business for the Praegers, but you know. Aaron, more like Asrun. I don't know that one works, Ukrainian. Let's see. Isn't he? Yeah, no, he looks like the Humanist Report. Like, he looks exactly like Mike from the Humanist Report. The ability to tell what is happening. It's also very hard to run a stream with just one laptop monitor. I will tell you that. But shall we get started? Are you guys ready for content? Switch to YouTube? Hell yeah, Fight Mage. Howdy. I do find it funny there. Like, we had a troll a couple days ago, like, you only have 30 viewers on YouTube. It's like, or on Twitch. It's like, yeah, that's right. But I got like 60 on my personal website and like 100 on YouTube. Just vibing? Hell yeah. Yeah, little do they know. All right, let's go. So we're not going to start right off with the Ron DeSantis story. Instead, we're going to talk about some good news for a change. Folks, New York City, the city I'm in, just announced a new program that they are doing in concordance with a group called RIP Medical Debt. And they are wiping out $2 billion in medical bills and medical debt for 500,000 people in New York City. And they're going to be doing that for less than $18 million over the next 3 years. Basically, what ends up happening is medical debt is like bought and sold. Like, your debt gets commodified by the market. And so different buyers or sellers will take riskier, will buy risk essentially from people who hold the medical debt. And by assuming that, like, it kind of becomes like this commodity to be traded as like a speculative investment almost. And what ends up happening is that you can buy, say, for example, $2 billion worth of medical debt for $18 million, right? So instead of private individuals or groups buying the medical debt, what we're seeing is the cities or states opting into buying this medical debt and simply forgiving it, right? Because it's in the best interest of the state for people not to be completely destroyed by medical debt and medical bills. And what's happening here is that New York City recognizes that and is now putting that into practice by buying high risk medical debt. And basically, when you say you're buying high risk debt, it means that the people whose debts you now own are less likely to be able to pay that debt. Usually because they are in extraordinarily bad economic circumstances. And basically that means that this $2 billion that is looming over 500,000 New Yorkers is, for all intents and purposes, targeting the most vulnerable people in New York City. And so rather than just let people on the bottom be crushed by debt, the city buys it, forgives it, and then they're able to improve their lives instead of, all of their life savings going into trying to pay back medical debt that is accruing interest and never going to go away. You know, it's basically a way of turning people into debt slaves. You can buy debt off of someone for literally pennies on the dollar if you do it the right way. There's an organization that's been doing this. Yeah, it's called RIP medical debt. New York City got the idea from them. It is working with them. Basically, on its own, RIP medical debt has been able to uh, basically wipe out about $10 billion in medical debt. And this will now bring it up to $12 billion working with New York City. So this is just really cool. I need to look more into the practice of relieving debt to see how pervasive we could turn that system. It's not something I've looked into extensively, but this announcement was literally made an hour and 20 minutes ago. So this is very new. It's very exciting. It's one of the largest medical debt forgiveness plans, I think, in U.S. history. So yeah, John Oliver did an episode on this a while back, but it's cool to see it gaining steam independent of HBO specials. My boss, in an attempt to talk about checking out work, referred to it as turning the screws. Oh no. Exactly, Shai Hulud. That's what's really cool about this, right? It's currently one of the largest debt relief, like for the largest medical debt relief programs in U.S. history. And if it works, this could be something that becomes far more commonplace, and that could be very cool. Because it could, as Arby's Meat Pie is pointing out in YouTube chat, it could be something that could be applied to a lot of other types of loans that would be in the interest of the public good. Like student debt relief, for example. Logan MC, hello. Penny, thank you for gifting Camel Spider a sub. Look, I found another button. You always seem to find buttons, and I appreciate you pushing them. So thank you very, very much. So yes, huzzah! Huzzah for everyone! Almost as if American healthcare is one big racket. Yeah, I mean, similar things might be able to be done with student debt or extremely high risk mortgages for low income families. A lot of things could be done in a way that is positive for everybody. Granted, this sort of relief is more of a substantial bandage than it is actually fixing the underlying problem. But a bandage in lieu of a substantial solution is at least going to buy us time to get to a better solution, and is going to get people to believe that better things are possible. This is one of the fundamental barriers I think a lot of people experience between that lulls them into inaction. It is being beaten down economically, socially, politically into believing that better things are impossible for us to achieve, when the reality is we can definitely do better than what we're doing right now. We've done better in the past, we can do better in the future, and I think that by working together we can get there. It's again, I think I mentioned this last stream, but the belief that, or not the belief, but the saying that people are better able to imagine the end of the world and the apocalypse than they are the end of capitalism. And that lack of imagination, we can do better. We can make it. We can imagine together a better world. And I think that's really cool. Waiting for the future is homophobic. Fair. All right. Also, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit, and because it's one of my favorite pastimes. Dunking on Tim Pool is like shooting fish in a barrel. It's ridiculously easy, borderline unethical, and impossible not to do. I, I the analogy breaks down, but so Tim Pool, right, is a knob, and he went on Twitter a couple days ago to say some things about trans people, saying, if you get major elective surgery to alter your body in horrific ways, I'm gonna call you a Cronenberg, and I don't care what you think. Somebody's been rewatching Rick and Morty, I think. Shame the Cronenbergs. I'm not arguing it isn't allowed. I'm arguing that I get to call you a Cronenberg. And then, like following it up with a Cronenberg creature, right? He's talking about trans people. He wants to be able to call trans people slurs, but he's too cowardly to actually call any of us like an actual slur. You know, like he wants to like invent his own more socially acceptable slur. And I find this funny because as like I was just like, what's Tim Pool been up to? And so I was searching around and I found an interesting little tidbit about Tim Pool's medical history that I wanted to share with all of you. Like he's the kind of guy who wants to call people Cronenbergs. Tim Pool literally had fetal tissue injected into his joints so he could keep skating, and he made a testimonial about it for the website or the unlicensed, non-FDA approved medical treatment that he received. So let's listen to his 30-second long testimonial.
CPI.
Oh. Why are my headphones disconnecting from? Disconnecting. That's weird. 1 second. I guess because it's not playing audio nonstop. Go. Technology under duress. All right, here we go.
My leg seems to be almost.
Oh my god! Why? No? Are these headphones off? No, it's not off. Why on earth? What is the deal? Sorry, 1 second. You know what? I have a solution for this. Know where the cable could be. Around to see It's fine. I don't need to hear things. Hearing things is for chumps. And now it connected. Okay. Here we go.
better. I've been having range of motion issues, CPI. My leg seems to be almost completely better. I've been having range of motion issues for months, to the point where I'm like, I gotta go to the doctor now. I was unable to skate. Pain was getting tremendous. Got a medical treatment from these guys over at CPI. You may have heard of this Cellular Performance Institute from the Joe Rogan podcast, where Eddie Bravo talked about getting his shoulder fixed. And boy, did they patch me up super quick. Got everything done. It was bang, bang, bang. Day one, MRI, IV treatments, and I got good news. They were able to spare me surgery. I can't believe how quickly it alleviated the problem. It's better. Range of motion is 100% now. I woke up today like, wow. It's amazing.
So, like a guy who wants to inject like fetal tissue stem cells into his joints wants to call other people like Cronenbergs for having far more necessary medical treatment. Like, oh, I can't skate so good. Time to inject the baby cells into my joints. What? Like, come on, dude. This is just peak alpha male stuff. Kinda, yeah. Like, and here's the thing, I don't inherently object to people using stem cells for like regenerative therapies or whatever, but like if you're gonna get on your high horse and like start calling people like horrible mutilated mutated monsters, like I think it's fair to point out some hypocrisy there. Like, I got an extra organ surgically inserted into an unusual position. Does that make me a Cronenberg? I guess so. Will the stem cells lead to the rejection of the beanie cells? One can only hope. So, like, I again, no issue with like stem cell related therapies, but like, I do have an issue with the hypocrisy. I do have an issue with the transphobia, like weaponizing medical treatment to do bigotry, I guess. Yeah, and the other thing is like, one, this isn't an FDA approved treatment. He had to go to another country in order to get this done, um, because it's not approved by the FDA. Um, like I don't know what to tell you. Like he got that done because his joints were hurting because of skating, as opposed to like a trans kid who like goes to therapy and gets like hormone treatment because otherwise they're going to die. So whatever. Tim Pool's a hypocrite. The sky's blue. The sun rises again tomorrow. It's not groundbreaking or anything, but I do like mocking Tim Pool. I do like doing that. So I thought it would be important to talk about. Selena Gomez, well-known Cronenberg, indeed. Oh, 1 second, I'm gonna take this call. BRB.
bitch and I know it. Kinda savage when I'm mad. If I feel it, I'm gonna show it. You're so warm, better step back. I'm a bad bitch and I know it. Kinda savage when I'm mad. If I feel it, I'm gonna show it. You're so warm, better step back. I'm a bad bitch and I know it. Kinda savage when I'm mad. If I feel it, I'm gonna show it. You're so warm, better step back. I'm a bad bitch and I know it. Kinda savage when I'm mad. If I feel it, I'm gonna show it. You're so warm, better step back. I'm a bad bitch and I know it. Kinda savage when I'm mad. If I feel it, I'm gonna show it. You're so warm, better step back. I'm a bad bitch and I know it. Kinda savage when I'm mad. If I feel it, I'm gonna show it. You're so warm, better step back.
Hello, folks. I'm back. You've been listening to the Slam Wave 2 album of Slam House. Y'all should go support them over on Bandcamp. Buy their stuff. Buy their albums. I love their DMCA free music. Good stuff. We have to get going through our content, so hang on to your wibbly bits, because we are gonna be rolling. Remember to hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let's get going. Do 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 do. Okay. So we dunked on Tim Pool. Mission accomplished. Also wanted to talk about this real quick, if we can, if it can load. It's loading. Here we go. Basically, Uber and Lyft drivers, again in New York City, by the way, Uber and Lyft drivers are getting one of the biggest payouts in history to settle a wage theft dispute. And as most of you know, if you're coming in from the left, the biggest source of theft in the United States is wage theft. So Uber and Lyft drivers are about to receive a payout of $328 million per New York Attorney General Letitia James. Yeah, they've secured the settlement. And keep in mind, this is a settlement. So this isn't even the full amount that was stolen from Uber and Lyft drivers. It just avoids like decades of litigation, essentially. So this is very, very cool. And like a historic win for workers and a historic win for the New York Attorney General. They stole money from our wages, said Lamin Jada, who drives for both Lyft and Uber. We worked hard, but the money was not showing up in our wage. Let's see here. Drivers came to our union office saying something's off, said Bhairavi Desai, executive director of the New York Taxi Workers Alliance. Why is this money that we thought the passenger is supposed why is this money that we thought the passenger is supposed to pay? Why are they taking it from us? The New York Taxi Workers Alliance first went to the Attorney General's office in 2015, but says it only took action under Letitia James. Uber owes me $25,000, said Malang Gassama, who is also a driver for both Lyft and Uber. Lyft owes me about $3,000. Like, one worker alone was owed $28,000. despite working 60 hours a week, Lamin Jada, a Gambia native, said he only made about $500 a week. $500 for 60 hours a week. He's expecting about $10,000 from the settlement. I'm going to help my family, Jada said, and I was going to school, but I couldn't afford to pay it, so I'll go back to school again. Like, these people got ripped off so badly that they have not been able to actually pursue their lives. You know, like, and this is an ongoing problem. This is a known problem with Lyft and Uber and rideshare companies, and this is where, frankly, union power is the only way, really, to oppose corporate overreach. Without the union, without the taxi drivers union, right? This would never have been brought to the attention of the Attorney General of New York. With the attention of the taxi union and Letitia James, it still took, I mean, thank goodness for Letitia James, because again, this has been a known issue for almost 10 years now, and they're only just now getting a settlement. This is crazy. So congratulations today to Uber and Lyft drivers in New York. You guys absolutely deserve it. And it's insane that this has been allowed to continue. And it's insane that we continue to live in a system where one political party very clearly favors the large corporations that are worth billions of dollars stealing from working people who are struggling to get by on $500 a week. And for anyone who's wondering, which political party am I talking about? I'm talking about the Republican Party. The Republican Party supports wage theft. That's literally, like, practically one of their platforms, okay? They support the ability of gigantic corporations worth billions stealing from you. Not just Lyft drivers, not just Uber drivers, but from you specifically. You watching this right now, the Republican Party is basically concocted as a scam to fuck you over. So go and get your bag, friends, because here's hoping that by working together, we can finally even the playing field a bit and get the money that is owed us. In case someone hasn't told you yet, you look pretty today. Thank you very much, trans girl Jade. I really, really appreciate it. They say in Harlan County, there are no neutrals there. Something, something, Union Man. I don't remember the rest of the words. Yeah. Okay. That was a super short story. Just good news that I really wanted to share with you. Now we're going to do Ron DeSantis dropping out of the race. And I think it's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's funny. Let's go. All right. He put out a video on his official Twitter account, and it's I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Here we go.
Greetings from Florida. The warmth of being home is a reminder why I've chosen public service. From joining the United States Navy and serving in Iraq, to representing the people in the U.S. Congress, and now serving as governor of Florida. And it reminds me why I decided to run for president, to fight for those who have been forgotten in this country. This is America's time for choosing. We can choose to allow a border invasion, or we can choose to stop it. We can choose reckless borrowing and spending, or we can choose to limit government and lower inflation. We can choose political indoctrination, or we can choose classical education. These choices are symptoms of the underlying struggle to ensure that constitutional government can endure.
You know, it's really telling that, like, watching this, you can tell that this is a man who eats pudding cups in the airplane with just his fingers, greatly to the disturbance of everyone around him, you know? Like, you watch this, you're like, yeah, this guy only can get a boner by torturing people in Guantanamo. Like, he's basically failing He's basically falling into the uncanny valley. Like he's setting off the red flags in your brain.
And that Western civilization can survive. And we launched this campaign to bring accountability to government, regain
So
sovereignty
Western
at our border,
civilization
and
can
restore
survive.
sanity to our society. We cannot succeed as a country if we allow our nation to be invaded, our currency to be debased, our cities to crumble, and our kids to be indoctrinated. The DC elites who facilitated this mess do not care about you, and they do not.
And that's why we need to get rid of the Federal Reserve. Somehow, something, get rid of the Federal Reserve, something, gold standard.
Work for you. They work for themselves. They seek to accumulate power at your expense to pursue an agenda that is harmful to the American people. Citizens.
Projection. Dude. Like, Ron DeSantis fucked over all of Florida just to try and further his political career and have a shot at the presidency. He fucked over all of the people who elected him in order to try and get to the presidency. He failed, and now he's just sucking up to Donald Trump in hopes of getting some sort of appointment.
Do not serve politicians. It is the duty of politicians to serve you. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. Reversing the decline of this nation requires leadership that delivers big results for the people we are elected to serve. I have a record of leading with conviction, championing an agenda marked by bold colors, delivering on my promises, and defeating the people who are responsible for our nation's decline. That is the type of leadership we need for all of America.
Yeah, I wonder if the type of leadership that we need for all of America is the kind of politician whose campaign would willingly and knowingly run campaign ads with sun and rod symbols inside of them. Literal Nazi symbols and symbology like throughout a campaign video, indicating that Ron DeSantis is amenable to Nazis. You really need politicians that will work for you. Unless you're black, or Latino, or gay, or trans. Mainly if you're just like a white dude who's really down with fascism. That's really the only people like a Ron DeSantis government will work for. And likewise any government that he endorses.
Now, over the past many months, Casey and I have traveled across the country to deliver a message of hope that decline is a choice and that we can, in fact, succeed again as a nation.
Why does he sound like AI of himself?
And we left it all out on the
Oh, okay. You know what? That's next level conspiracy theory. Ron DeSantis couldn't be bothered to do a concession speech, so they just did an AI deepfake of him conceding. The only thing is, if they actually did that, it would sound more lifelike than Ron DeSantis.
Field. Now, following our second
It would have
finish,
more
we
riz.
prayed and deliberated on the way forward. If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. But I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to attack him. Well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as on the coronavirus
using
pandemic
lawfare,
and his elevation of Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior.
Using lawfare instead of warfare. Oh my God, dude! How dare they use laws? How dare they try and use laws? Oh God. Just real quick. Just real quick for the meme.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him, boys.
The current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents. The day.
By the way, Ron DeSantis, while he rails against corporatism, is far more in favor of like crony capitalism than Nikki Haley is, because he's a fascist. Fascism is like the final form of like corporatism, crony capitalism, whatever. It is the fusion of the cronyism with the state. And, you know, I see people in my YouTube comments, because I look at them from time to time, arguing that, well, crony capitalism isn't capitalism, or corporatism isn't capitalism. But it is. It is the natural outcome of unchecked capitalism. Like, if you consolidate wealth into a select few hands, and all of the incentive structures are to continue consolidating that wealth, well, then eventually you have to understand that that consolidated wealth is going to be put towards the end of like bending democracy so that you can make more money, so you can consolidate more wealth. You know, that's what private businesses do. That's why they have lobbying arms for the government. It's so that they can lobby for the like loosening of restrictions or elimination of restrictions on them so that they can make more money. And those restrictions and regulations are put in place by democratic bodies to protect consumers, to protect people like you, the people watching this right now. And so, like, capitalism isn't distinct from cronyism. Cronyism is just the natural outcome of capital left to its own devices, right?
Days of putting Americans last, of kowtowing to large corporations, of caving to woke ideology are over. I thank all of our passionate supporters who have stood by us through it all. That we had people volunteer to come to Iowa in the middle of a blizzard to knock on doors and make phone calls touched us dearly. No candidate had more thrown at him, but no candidate had so many committed volunteers and staff. Finally, I want to thank my wife, Casey, and our kids, Madison, Mason, and Mamie. Casey's gone far above and beyond in her support for our campaign and for our cause. She's not only a great wife and mother, she's a great American who cares deeply about the future of the country that our kids will inherit. Our kids have seen and done a lot on the trail, from playing on the famed Field of Dreams baseball site Iowa to making their first snowman in New Hampshire. They are one of the reasons we fight so hard for what we believe in. Winston Churchill once remarked that success is not final, failure is not fatal.
Ron DeSantis, we fight for the voiceless. We fight for the snowmen.
Is the courage to continue that counts. While this campaign has ended, the mission continues. Down here in Florida, we will continue to show the country how to lead. Thank you, and God bless.
How to lead the way into the ocean as it slowly rises to encompass our cities. They will forge a new path ahead for humanity as the first state to be predominantly made up of fish people. Anyway, we have more of this. Here's Donald Trump, kind of reacting to it. Let's see if we can narrow down this clip a little bit.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kayleigh McEnany, along with Guy Benson,
Oh,
Molly
God.
Line.
The one thing about this this laptop is that it doesn't have like a whole lot of like CPU horsepower. So like YouTube is completely abysmal right now. Do we have? I thought they had an interview with Trump in here about like Trump's reaction. It doesn't look like they do. Oh wait, here we go. Is this it? Okay, we're skipping this. F it. F it, we're doing it live. Anyway, Trump went on to say, well, you know, Ron DeSantis worked very hard, which is his way of basically building a bridge and trying to like set up his supporters for like not completely turning on DeSantis, you know. Here is a new C-SPAN footage of Donald Trump. Well, I think you can basically tell what he's going for here.
There's a great man, a great leader in Europe, Viktor Orban. He's the
fascist.
Prime Minister of Hungary. He's a very great leader, very strong man. Some people don't like him because he's too strong. It's nice to have a strong man running your country, but he...
You know, it's nice to have a strong man running your country. That is another way of saying it's nice to have an authoritarian running your country. It's nice to have a fascist running your country. This is Donald Trump, like, glorifying an authoritarian fascist and, like, prepping his entire voter base to be on board with him as if it's normal when he finally takes power. Like, that's like his goal here, you know? Also, did we lose the Twitch stream for a second? Looks like we might have, but we're back, baby. God, the tech issues on this stream are bad. Sorry, folks. And again, I just need to double down on the fact that Donald Trump is a fascist, right? Like, he is a guy who, again, routinely, this has been happening for like 8 years now, points at people in his crowd and then, like, calls for them to be assaulted, you know?
Get out of here. Get out
This
of
is
here.
from the same rally. Someone spoke
Go ahead,
against
you can
him.
throw him out.
And they start assaulting him, like, as he's being thrown out. Like, this should be chilling. You know, like, this is fascism. Like, in response to pushback, he got an entire crowd to basically be willing to rip this guy apart. If it wasn't for the cops escorting him out, they would absolutely have, like, torn him limb from limb, you know?
Well, now we know that politics is getting serious, so now we know we're getting serious. Now, he's just a disturbed person. Remember that used to happen all the time? People used to call for it. Where is that? We want it back. But no, probably we're really now into political season, and that is happening. It's happening, and the people...
Yeah. I don't know, guys. Like, America's headed into a dark place if Trump wins. We're already in a dark place under Biden, but, like, it can get so much worse than where we are right now, you know? And I think a lot of people, especially on the left, don't realize that it can get way worse. This, by the way, is in New York. And this clip in and of itself is pretty funny. But, like, you know, what the context around this is disturbing. Basically, in New York City, there was a white nationalist demonstration. All of whom, by the way, support Donald Trump. There's no white nationalist who supports Joe Biden. Okay. You know, it's one of the ironic facts about the people who vote Republican and people who are pro-life. People who are pro-life and vote Republican will say that Democrats are in favor of, like, white genocide. Or sorry, people who are pro-life or people who are white supremacists, right, will say that Joe Biden is, doing a white genocide. He's enabling a genocide of white people. He's enabling the Great Replacement conspiracy theory, right? Meanwhile, the pro-life people who vote Republican also try to claim that, abortion rights are a genocide against black people. So, which is it? Which is it? You can't have it both ways. The white supremacists, the white nationalists, they vote for Trump. Pro-life people vote for Trump. They are both completely at odds about the reasons, or at least some of the reasons why. But you have these white nationalists organized. I think they might be Patriot Front by their outfits, but I'm not entirely sure. They showed up in mass to protest in New York, and then they ran into a bit of trouble when it came to getting on the subway. Here they are trying to figure out the turnstiles, and they're really, really bad at it. That is Patriot Front. Okay, cool. Just like they can't figure it out. Dude, they can't do it, dude. Oh my god, dude. It's too good. It's too good. They all wind up just walking around. It's crazy, dude. They can't even figure it out. Incredible. Smartest white nationalists, by the way. Oh, and then now, by the way, you have people like Matt Walsh going out and claiming that racial discrimination doesn't exist. They are trying to say Nikki Haley, or Nimrata Nikki Haley, was never discriminated against for being Indian, right? She gave an interview where she talked about growing up in the American South as like an Indian person, and people are basically just calling her a liar now. If they support Donald Trump, they're just saying Nikki Haley is a liar. No one would discriminate against Indian people, and that's effing crazy. My goodness. Also, sorry that the stream is so scuffed today, folks. There's really nothing I can do about it. This is the best I can do on the road at the moment. I don't have like a streaming laptop to like make this kind of stuff happen. So I'm doing the best with what I got. I know it's not great. Sammy Minx, I feel my brain cells die hearing you speak. You're an idiot. Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm sure you will dazzle us all with your scintillating intellect in whatever field you go into. Let's see. My first stream catching you live too. Yeah, I apologize if this is the first stream you're watching me live on. Let's see. Of course, the snowmen are white. True, William. Penny, thank you for gifting fat guy named Tiny a sub. My god, Penny today. Almost single-handedly holding down the stream. Let's go! Yeah, I don't know. Like, people are little silly billies. I don't know what to say. We need more yellow snowmen. No. All right, we do need to talk about real quick. I wanted to go over this story because it's just kind of funny. Basically, to preface this, there is an online pastor who looks almost exactly like a conservative shitheel named who goes by Actual Justice Warrior. He looks exactly the same as him, and he's been charged in Colorado for a $1 million crypto scam. He basically scammed his congregation into donating to him, and then spent $1.3 million. Either spent or lost. Let's hear his justification. We'll get some clarification here. Somebody compiled a supercut of him giving different explanations for what actually happened. Those of you who know who Actual Justice Warrior is, you can either confirm or deny. This guy looks exactly like him, right? Like, I actually thought this was him for a minute. It's not. For the record, I did confirm it's not him. But it is very funny. So let's see what he has to say. What does he have to say in response to these charges?
Caitlin and I are being charged in a civil charge from the Colorado Securities and Exchange Commission for basically selling millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency that is deemed worthless by the state. Now, the reason that they're seeing that it's worthless is because there is no exit for people who have bought. We launched an exchange. The exchange technology failed. Things went downhill. And from that point forward, we've just been waiting on the Lord literally for a miracle. So the charges are that Caitlin and I pocketed $1.3 million. And I just want to come out and say that those charges are true. So there's been $1.3 million that's been taken out of, I think it was a total of $3.4 million. But out of that $1.3, $500,000 went to the IRS, and a few $100,000 went to a home remodel that the Lord told us to do. So how this whole thing started is the Lord told us
it's true that we stole almost $1.5 million from you. It's that part's true, but the Lord told us that we really needed a home remodel. You know, the Lord himself came down to me, in the form of a multi-winged, many-eyed creature that is beyond mortal comprehension, said, "Do not be afraid. You need those new marble sinks, okay? You need the gold faucet. You need them. The Lord demands them. In his infinite wisdom, he shall not be denied." And you said, "Yes, Lord, I will do as you seek. I will do as you command."
In 21 to walk away from our marketing company, and he said, "I'm going to do a new thing." And then he took us into this cryptocurrency. It was a different cryptocurrency other than index coin at the time. Well, that cryptocurrency turned out to be a scam. And so the Lord says, give that to them, but also give them a 10x. And I'm like, well, where's this liquidity going to come from? And the Lord says, trust me.
And the angel came to me and said, "We're going to give you a 10x on your investment, son." How, Lord? Where's the liquidity going to come in? Trust me. Do as I say. Give all your earthly belongings to your new shitcoin. You will be well rewarded.
Well, as money is coming in, we would be sowing it. And at first it was hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars, then tens of thousands of dollars. Money would come in, we tithe, we sow, more money would come in. And so we were just always under the impression that God was going to provide, that the source was never ending, that God was doing.
By the way, this is the end result of like prosperity gospel, right? Like prosperity gospel is now entering late stage capitalism, where instead of just like lavishing the wealth on themselves, they're like lavishing their wealth onto like crypto scams and like losing it all. Like we've been told by prosperity gospel that like when you receive money, you need to send it back out into the world as seeds, and then it will grow like little money trees and reward us for our faith. And like that's not how money works. That isn't at all how money works.
Doing a new thing, and that we had nothing to worry about. And we sold a cryptocurrency with no clear exit. We did. We took God at his word and sold a cryptocurrency with no clear exit. And so the prosecutors have to
Yeah, it was all God. We took God at his word. We're not responsible. It was God.
take that and say, these people willingly sold a cryptocurrency with no clear exit. What we're praying for and what we're believing for still is that God is going to do a miracle. God is going to work a miracle in the financial sector.
Just incredible. Just incredible, dude. Anyway, prosperity gospel is a scam. It is a lie told to you. It is a bastardization and blasphemy in the eyes of like any mainstream Christian church. Do not fall for it. Like I guess I'm putting this out there partly for like the entertainment of like non-believers, but like if you do believe in like Christianity and Jesus, like don't fall for prosperity gospel because it's not real. It's just preying on economic desperation from like people who are being crushed under capitalism, and the hope that if you give money to you know, relatively scamish church, that you will be rewarded tenfold. You know, you give $10 to the church, you'll make $100 somehow in some other way. That's a lie. That's not how the universe works. It's not how God works, even within the Christian understanding of God. It's not how any of this works at all. You are being lied to, you're being had, and the sooner you wake up to this sort of predation, the better off you'll be, both like within your Christian faith and within economic constraints. So with that, howdy folks. Man, the Twitch, I want to apologize to the Twitch stream. Like, it seems like every 5 minutes or so, the stream keeps shutting down. I have no idea why. But it doesn't appear to be happening on the YouTube stream. So if any of you on Twitch want to come over to the YouTube, you'll have a more consistent experience. I at least promise you that. Yeah, send your money to Riverboat Jack Incorporated instead. You'll be well rewarded intellectually. Hey, Migs. If they claim the insanity plea based on their faith, I don't think they are going to claim insanity. I think they're just going to plead guilty. All right. I did want to talk about this real quick. I think we'll have to cut the section on Biden. I'm going to move maybe one of the more important pieces up into the story in Gaza. But basically, I wanted to get to this story because I think it's really important. Basically, Kentucky has introduced a new bill that will allow the violent use of, well, basically will legalize the use of deadly force against homeless people. If that sounds insane, that's because it is. Basically, what this Kentucky bill would do would be it would allow cities to create homeless zones. And if you are caught being homeless outside of those zones, you could be subject to violence by any citizen. So right now it's being called the Safer Kentucky Act. It's being predicated on the Stand Your Ground law. It has 45 Republican co-sponsors in the Kentucky State House. It is backed by the Kentucky State Fraternal Order of Police. And Yeah, essentially, the legislation allows for the making of these homeless zones. And then if you have a tent, hut, shelter, vehicle, and you are intending to sleep in it outside of those zones, they can charge you with a $5,000 fine and 3 months in jail. They can do that. How the fuck is that even legal? I mean, it'll probably be challenged by like the ACLU. I would assume. But the issue is they're trying to make it legal, right? They're trying to make this the law of Kentucky, right? And yeah, they know that like if you're homeless, you don't have $5,000 to pay. So all it does is send homeless people, if they're outside of these zones, straight to prison, which is unsurprising, right? This is very unsurprising because apparently, and I just learned this recently, Kentucky, if you took it Kentucky as its own country, it would have like the seventh most incarcerated, like it would be a country with the seventh most incarcerated people on the planet. Like it is crazy. There are so many incarcerated people in Kentucky that it would rank in the top 10. You know, and I just, man, the bill, it gets even worse than that, though, right? It gets even worse than that because it's predicated on stand your ground laws. Basically, if someone tries to sleep in their car or pitch a tent outside of one of these zones, and that place is private property, the bill basically gives property owners carte blanche to do whatever they want to homeless people on their property, right? It is like I have no words for this, right? Like you can use all force up to and including deadly force merely because there's a homeless person in a tent in like some shrubbery on your property. That's kind of the situation that people are looking at here. Yeah, and if they kill a homeless person on their property, no charges can be brought against that person. There are no criminal consequences to you as a property owner if you kill a homeless person on your property if this bill becomes law. Like, yeah, it's crazy. You this is a situation where like you could have a property owner set up like a sniper nest on top of their house and just like homeless person in a car like parks a little bit too close to their property and like tries to sleep. They like start taking pot shots at the homeless person. Like justification. This is unironically like a fraction of a step away from legalizing hunting human beings for sport. It's monstrous, dude. They'll just go hunting homeless people, then drag their corpses onto their properties afterward. Unironically, it opens the door for that. Like, I have 10. People in Kentucky in rural areas own vast tracts of land. Chat. There are people who privately own like forests and woodlands. If this law gets passed and someone's roughing it on their property, they can legally be hunted for sport under the pretext of defending their personal property. Like if you coerce a homeless person, oh yeah, it's totally safe to stay here, bud. We'll open up our barn for you, bud. You could fucking kill them. You could just lure homeless people to your property and murder them. It's crazy, dude. Like when I tell people like southern states are not safe to go to, Like, this is the kind of shit I mean. Like, they're constantly looking for an excuse to just murder people for funsies. It's wild. Absolutely wild. So, yeah. Republicans hate you and want to give anyone with more power than you the excuse to be able to murder you. That's just kind of how it is in America right now. That being said, we've been going for about 2 hours now for the stream. If you've been enjoying it, please hit the follow button, or at least, especially after that story, not enjoying it, but getting interesting and pertinent information. Hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, like the YouTube stream, and consider dropping some subs and donos in order to help keep me alive. This content is literally brought to you by viewers like you, and without you folks subscribing, gifting subs, making donos, I would not be able to make this content. So please, please, please continue to support my content. Keep in mind that Kentucky isn't even facing a massive homelessness crisis. Even if it was, like, that would not justify this. What does camping out mean, though? Loitering? I mean, like, you would basically have to prove that their intent wasn't to sleep on your property, Which, when they're dead and there's only one side left alive to tell the tale, well, then that becomes very hard to prove. God. I really... Yeah. I don't know. Once this bill is overturned, any person who shoots a homeless person dead who wasn't a threat should be retroactively charged with murder. I mean, we'll see if it even gets overturned, because my understanding is that Kentucky has a Republican supermajority that can override veto. So, hey, Christina Amazon. You saw, yeah, exactly. The solution to homelessness is to give the homeless housing, like stable housing that they can be proud of and can, like, grow within, and that's not at all what murder does. Hey, Person Merson. Mobile stream, basically, we're using a laptop. It's scuffed as hell. It's not pretty, but it's getting the job done, baby. And, I'm on vacation right now, so if anyone wants to throw some dollar dues my way, I certainly would appreciate them. We also I want to go over a few more stories about Gaza. And then we will draw to a close. We're doing, it's a small stream today. It's not huge, it's not big, not long. But we're doing the best with what I got. Just gave you my Prime sub today. I do not see the notification, but thank you very much. There are no, by the way, live notifications today because it's mobile, it's scuffed, and this is what we got. So, thank you to anyone who's throwing subs or donos my way. I only can see them if they're in the riverboat.gg chat. Sorry. And with that, we are going into our Gaza story. So, buckle in, folks. Basically, the tide is beginning to turn when it comes to Biden on Gaza, right? One of the really important stories that is coming out increasingly in more and more mainstream Democratic polling is that frankly, people hate that Biden is continually being flaccid and inactive when it comes to ending the genocide in Gaza. It's people hate it. It's not making him popular. And Catalina Gearbox, correct. Thank you for the $5 dono. And did you know you can link your Amazon account to Twitch? And if you have Prime, you can get 1 free sub a month. That is true. And if anyone does that for me, I'm very much appreciative. So, here is a short snippet from a CBS Face the Nation, where effectively a group of Democratic voters start talking about how they are not going to vote for Biden due to his support of the genocide in Gaza.
But you said reproductive rights are a huge factor for you, but that you probably won't vote for President Biden.
I think it would be hypocritical of me to use reproductive rights as a way to justify voting for Biden when Biden is aiding and sending military aid to Israel, which is airstriking Gaza and blocking humanitarian aids, leading to women there who are pregnant, either getting C-sections without anesthesia, not being able to be provided with prenatal.
Saba, you said reproductive rights are a huge factor for you, but that you probably won't vote for President Biden.
I think it would be hypocritical of me to use reproductive rights as a way to justify voting.
Yeah, like, here's the thing, right? I'm actually kind of supportive of the argument that she's making in the context of, like, trying to put pressure on Biden and the Democrats to actually do something about the genocide in Gaza. Like, you're being afforded, like, a unique media platform in the mainstream. And I think that, like, that is perhaps a lever you can press in order to try and get support for ending the genocide. I don't think it's a particularly good argument for the actual election, but for where we are right now, like a year out or 8 months out from the actual election, with some signs that Biden is beginning to crumble, this could actually be like a decent tactical move if she's not being like if she's not being genuine, and she might very well be genuine. I have no idea. But suffice to say, this kind of pushback is being heard and taken into consideration by the Biden White House. It's why a lot of the messaging has been pretty frantic, especially in the wake of Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, basically saying, we're not going to listen to the United States. We are going to continue doing the war in Gaza, and we're going to continue killing the civilians in Gaza, right? Like, it's telling even, I think, here, right? That, like, Israeli propaganda is almost getting worse. Like, it's getting lazier. And I made, like, a very short video about this a bit ago, about, like, you know, they're like planting, like, brand new iPads with, like, pictures of Hitler on them in, like, Palestinian girls' rooms, and, like, finding them pristine among the rubble with those lock screens. Or, like, Israeli Jews and Arabs are all fighting together for a common goal, to return all the hostages and to protect our home. And they have, like, this picture here. And pointed out by Rami Ismail, who is the developer behind Nuclear Throne and the Vlambeer studio. That's not how Muslims pray. Israel continues to be inept at propaganda because they barely have had to try. The West at large has believed and circulated the same pro-Israel lies for so long that now the genocidal mask is slipping. Israel can't step up its game fast enough. Which I agree, by the way. I agree. Like their propaganda game is lazy as hell, and like they can't even get like accurate. They can't even be accurate about it, you know? Like, additionally, like, some of the, like, pro-Israel stuff that's coming out now is making Biden look bad by extension, and this is just, like, an example, and granted, it's an example, like, in New Zealand, but, like, as examples like this pile up, it's kind of crazy. This is a group of pro-Israel demonstrators in New Zealand performing a haka to like counter protest to counter protest people who are trying to get a ceasefire, right? Now, I want to really emphasize here that this post tries to argue that these are local indigenous community members, so they have the right to, the subtext is that they have the right to be performing this haka, and they don't. They're a member of a far right extremist church called I think it's called the Destiny Church, and the haka to which is done by the tribe that they are doing. That tribe has specifically asked them not to do that, and yet they continue. Yeah, it's not great. It's the haka they're performing is from the Maori Iwi tribe, or from the Maori Iwi, and that specific Iwi has basically asked them to stop because they do it at a lot of their events, apparently. Yeah, they are a Christian group. They are not like an indigenous spiritual group at all. Crazy stuff. God. But like, yeah, they were in fact not spitting. Indeed. The reality is here that this is getting less popular as time goes by. The Biden administration knows that. It's why they have tried to like stop talking about Gaza as much. The current topic that the Biden administration is trying to mainstream is Biden's support of abortion rights. He signed some new federal, not legislation, executive orders to try and protect abortion rights. But, if he's not elected, those get immediately overturned. But that's the direction that they want the conversation to go. And it's just not going to go that way the longer there is suffering within Gaza. One of the most recent stories to come out is father of American teen killed in West Bank by Israeli fire rails against the U.S. support of Israel. Basically, as the crackdown has continued in Gaza, Israeli forces have continued to escalate their attacks on various West Bank villages and communities, and that included the killing of an American teen in the West Bank with his family. Like, And this father, like, is being interviewed by the Associated Press at his son's funeral here. Yeah, 17-year-old killed by Israeli fire. And let's see. Yeah, during Saturday's funeral, the teen's father criticized the longstanding U.S. support for Israel. They are killer machines, he said, of Israeli forces. They are using our tax dollars in the U.S. to support the weapons to kill our own children. And I'm sorry if, like, Biden wants to reframe issues around abortion right now, but, like, the unrelenting bigotry and violence against Palestinians in all of the occupied territories is not going to let that happen. It's not going to let the conversation be reframed because Israel cannot stop massacring Palestinians. The death toll has now exceeded a total of, or an official total of 25,000. Attacks have been stepping up in Khan Yunis against civilian populations. In the past 24 hours, almost 200 people have been killed, with several hundred more wounded. Like, the Israeli forces are deliberately targeting hospitals, ambulances, schools, basically the places where civilians are sheltering, and then they claim after the fact, "Oh, that was Hamas. That was Hamas. We were killing Hamas fighters." If you guys remember there was a story we covered last time about the one of the last remaining universities in Gaza being leveled by mine munitions, basically being controlled demolitioned. The Israeli occupying forces did a controlled demolition of this university, which implies that it was not posing a threat because they had time to set up the charges to completely annihilate the university, right? And that's being done against all of the major institutions within Gaza. It's not good. It's not good. And this isn't going to end until Biden puts pressure on the Israeli government, and it has to be like real, like actual pressure to end the violence. And it's just, we haven't hit that point yet. We haven't hit the point where the Biden administration actually does that. We've gotten signs that behind the scenes they're intensifying pressure, but they need to be doing it publicly. They need to be doing it publicly, and they need to be doing it now. Like, yeah, the United States could sanction Israel. We have 2 carrier groups in the region. If the U.S. wanted to, we could, like, lock down arms and ammunition trading to Israel. Like, we could rescind all, like, honestly, we could rescind all support, and that would, like, have a instant ramification for Israel, right? On like a diplomatic level. But more than that, like, if we actually chose to actively try to stop it, like, that would be even better. We need to end the genocide now, Joe. But, like, right now, Israel is being pushed. Bernie Sanders put out a statement. We'll just read that in its entirety here. Senator Sanders' statement on Netanyahu's recent comments rejecting a 2-state solution. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu recently said, in any future arrangement, Israel needs security control of all territory west of the Jordan, adding that, "I told this truth to our friends, the Americans. The Prime Minister needs to be able to say no, even to our best friends." Prime Minister Netanyahu is right. We need to be able to say no to our friends. He has made his position clear. He will never allow a Palestinian state, ever. He will continue his devastating war against innocent Palestinian men, women, and children. He will block the food, water, and medical supplies needed to prevent mass starvation and sickness. Now we must make our position clear. Despite the illegal and inhumane actions of Netanyahu's government, President Biden has thus far offered unconditional support to Israel. That must change. President Biden must now loudly and clearly say no to the policies of Netanyahu's right-wing extremist government. This is what a true friend of Israel must do in this moment. And Congress must act. There must be no more U.S. military aid to Israel to continue Netanyahu's war. Humanitarian aid must be immediately allowed to reach those in need. A safe release of all remaining hostages must be negotiated. Israel must work towards a lasting peace that allows two states for two peoples. If Netanyahu continues down the path of military domination, he must do so alone. The United States cannot be complicit. So, I mean, like, that's a pretty explicit statement from Bernie Sanders, who has been, to my knowledge, doing the best he can on the inside up until this moment. I think it took him a while to realize that the soft pressure that he was trying to exert was not actually working. You know? Bernie is based, for sure. Yeah. And I just really wanted to put out that, like, this isn't going away, and this is presenting a very real ethical dilemma to a lot of mainstream voters, not just people on the far left, you know, not just like tanky types, but like mainstream Democratic voters are having to grapple with the reality that Biden has done precious little to avert this genocide and is actively still supporting it. And that is going to be a huge problem for his campaign. It's also a huge problem for the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And this is, like, I see some signs of Biden perhaps caving to this domestic pressure, where he isn't necessarily going to cave to, you know, Houthi attacks on shipping, for example. But, like, this is a well-publicized enough story that people are actually going to care about it. You know, doing a couple airstrikes in Syria, while, like, incredibly serious and deadly, it's not on the same level. It's not comparable to a systematic displacement and elimination of, like, an entire group of people, which is what we're seeing right now in Gaza. Well, and that's kind of what they've been banking on, Will Kale. They've been banking on the fact that American voters will really forget about this by the time the election rolls around. But I think that might be an incredible miscalculation, considering that there are news stories every day, and have been every day for months, coming out that about the atrocities in the Gaza Strip. And I don't see those stopping by the election. I think those are going to continue unless Biden actually does something about it, you know? This is his race to lose. And, like, for me, I'm able to make the calculation that I think, like, whatever Biden is doing ineffectively right now, Trump will make infinitely worse, you know? Biden trying behind the scenes to moderate, like, Israel's violence towards Palestinians, ineffective, right? Trump would actively encourage and, like, maybe even participate in trying to murder Palestinians. You know, like, that's kind of my view on it. Like, there's no situation in which electing Trump makes things better for people in America or better for people anywhere in the world, right? So, like, that's my fairly simple calculation on like why I'll be mobilizing folks for Biden. But, like, it's going to be a lot harder this time around because his campaign and because his policies are frankly leading to monstrous atrocities, you know? I don't think anything we could do is going to stop the killings in Gaza. I mean, I think that Israel will ignore any kind of soft pressure by the United States, which is why it needs to be public pressure by the United States. By soft, I mean like behind the scenes. I don't think behind the scenes negotiating with Israel is actually going to lead them to like moderating their massacring of Palestinians. I think it needs to be a public denunciation. I think that it needs to be a rescinding of the diplomatic immunity that U.S. support has basically granted Israel for like the last 60 years. I think that there is a lot the United States could do to dissuade the Netanyahu government from its current course of action. But you know what? I think it would be worth seeing if maybe applying that kind of pressure would actually do something, and at the very least, attempting to do something about it would be good for Biden in his current political campaign. You know, doing something publicly that actually has ramifications on a global stage for Israel, I think would at least indicate to people that Biden is not complicit with genocide, like he currently is right now. Well, yeah, Netanyahu has a whole set of interests that diverge from like the United States putting pressure on Israel, right? If Netanyahu lets go of power or stops this kind of wartime march, you know, he's going to be out of office and probably in prison for his litany of crimes, namely the fraud crimes, not the genocide crimes. But it would still be worth it to maybe not support him with U.S. munitions, money, aid, etc. There's a lot we can do before. There's a lot we can do before it's like we put American troops on the ground in Gaza. Like that's not going to happen. But yeah. I think there are things we could do. I'd encourage people not to be doomer about it, but it's also it's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard to actually be hopeful about it, for sure. Hey, Spectral Pyre. Boy. Legalize the fungus. I eat it anyway. Yeah, I'd be in favor of magic mushrooms being legalized. Yeah, like I mean that's fundamentally the issue for me, Trans Girl Jade. Like, even with the alternative being fascism, Trump is being not Trump. Biden is being woefully incompetent when it comes to trying to run against a fascist while tacitly supporting a genocide. Like, why? 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 He could simply not. He could simply like distance himself from the Israeli government. He could stop arms and aid going to the Israeli government, and then he could just run on, like, instead of being like culpable for like his role in a genocide of 2.4 million people, he could simply run on his like worker rights accomplishments and like protecting abortion rights, and he would have this in the bag. I don't understand the calculation where he thinks he can get away with this. My God. Yeah, he'd have the second term on lock, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Ukrainian, you're being real cryptic. Like you could just say what you mean. Like you could just say like you think like all of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are going to be like pushed out into the desert, which is looking incredibly likely as the outcome, right? But like we can literally do anything. I feel like I'm not asking for much for like the U.S. to put public pressure on Israel. Not the desert, the sea. I mean, why not both? I'm sure that's basically the position of the Israeli government. Again, as we've covered extensively, their position seems to be kill enough Palestinians, and then the world will have to take the dregs. Monstrous. Absolutely monstrous. I'm more hopeful that something will stop full-blown ethnic cleansing. Like what when you're saying something will stop it, what are you saying? Like what do you mean? Because I don't what is that something? Is it like an invasion from Iran? Like what? Like the United States isn't going to put boots on the ground in Israel. Yeah, the mainstream rhetoric right now in Israel is simply kill them all. It is simply the law of Amalek over there. It's kill every man, woman, and child. You know, donkey, dog, cat, kill them all. Right? Like literally, Netanyahu called for like an Amalek protocol. Like called for like the death of all Palestinians. Thinking maybe more direct intervention from the UN. But like direct intervention from the UN would require the UN Security Council to unanimously agree, and the United States has never allowed that to happen. And barring, again, like direct public condemnation of Israel from the American government, like that's not going to happen. And if the deportations into Egypt are prevented, like they can basically, the Israeli forces, the IDF can basically just kill them. Like that's basically what's going to happen. Yeah, like this I kind of agree with Valhalla Vigia to an extent. Like this is the long-term end game for current Israeli politics. The only path forward that doesn't include genocide coming to complete fruition is condemnation by the United States and more direct pressure being put on them on an international scale. I'll be right back to finish up stream. BRB. All right, folks, if you've gotten anything valuable out of this stream, please hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on, my God, hit the like button on the stream, do all the things, and consider dropping some subs or donos. The stream's basically wrapping up today, folks. And if any of you would like to support me or any of the streams that I do, I would very, very much appreciate it. You guys got 2.5 hours out of me on my vacation. I'm gonna go get cleaned up and do some fun stuff / maybe some work stuff that's just not stream work. And I hope you all got something out of this. I know we ended kind of on a down note, but I do think fundamentally, even though things are really bad right now, for a lot of people, I think we can make it better. That fundamentally, I want all of you to be able to know that we can do something about our problems. We can make things better. Keep on putting pressure on your local, state, and national politicians in order to effect a ceasefire. And remember to donate subs and donos to riverboat.gg. All right, with that, y'all have a good one. Bye.